You know, I never understood that. Why did you judge me? Why did you judge me?
You killed innocent people.
The means to an end.
You started a massacre.
I caused the revolution.
You betrayed the law!
Law!
One of the most expensive movies ever made had its multi-million-dollar set sink to the bottom of the ocean after a hurricane. That was just one of the disasters that struck Hollywood in 1995. While movies like Toy Story and Apollo 13 were smashing records, other films were crashing and burning. They were labeled as career-ending catastrophes and laughed out of theaters. But a funny thing happened when the dust settled. These flops refused to die. These are 10 movies from 1995 that flopped hard, but became the cult classics that fans now worship. Number 10. Showgirls. In 1995, the team behind the hit Basic Instinct reunited for Showgirls, a gritty look at the world of Las Vegas dancers. With a massive $45 million budget, director Paul Verhoeven did something unheard of. He demanded an NC-17 rating, which bans anyone under 17. It became the first and only NC-17 movie to get a wide release in mainstream theaters. The gamble backfired spectacularly. The film was a box office bomb, failing to make back its budget. Critics hated it, calling it one of the worst films ever made. It won a record 7 Razzie Awards, including Worst Picture. But then, the movie became a monster hit on home video, generating over $100 million from VHS sales and turning a huge profit. Audiences discovered it was the perfect so bad it's good film. It was quickly embraced by the queer community, who celebrated its wild style and quotable lines. Midnight screenings turned into interactive parties where fans shouted dialogue at the screen. The film's spectacular failure is exactly what made it a legend. While Showgirls was a disaster of excess, our next film was a disaster of a different kind, one that happened on the open water. Number 9. Waterworld. By 1995, Kevin Costner was one of the biggest stars on the planet. His next project was Waterworld, a post-apocalyptic epic set on an Earth completely covered by water. Basically, Mad Max on the ocean. Costner and the director insisted on filming on the open water for realism, a decision Steven Spielberg had warned them against after his nightmare shooting Jaws. Spielberg was right. The production was plagued by problems. A massive multi-million-dollar floating set was destroyed by a hurricane and sank. The budget, originally $100 million, ballooned to a record-breaking $175 million, making it the most expensive film ever made at the time. Before it was even released, the press nicknamed it Fish Tar and Kevin's Gate, referencing 2 of history's biggest bombs. Despite opening at number 1, it couldn't escape its massive costs and became a legendary flop. Yet, on home video, people discovered a film with incredible practical effects and ambitious world building. The real ocean sets gave the movie a timeless quality that CGI-heavy blockbusters from the era lack. Number 8. Strange Days. Imagine getting the director of Point Break, Catherine Bigelow, and the writer of Terminator, James Cameron, to make a movie together. That was Strange Days, a film with a wild idea. What if you could record not just what you see, but what you feel? Set in a chaotic Los Angeles just before the year 2000, an ex-cop sells illegal recordings that let users experience someone else's memories. The story was a dark look at our obsession with watching others and tackled heavy themes like police brutality, directly inspired by the 1992 LA riots. With a visionary team, it seemed destined for greatness. Instead, it was a catastrophe. The movie had a massive $42 million budget, but only made around $8 million in the US. The marketing was a mess, and critics were divided. The failure nearly destroyed Bigelow's career. But on VHS, people discovered a secret. The movie was a prophecy. Its ideas about immersive technology and viral recordings felt eerily familiar in our modern world. The very things that made audiences uncomfortable in 1995 are why it's now worshipped as a masterpiece. If you're obsessed with hidden movie history and love uncovering how Hollywood's biggest flops turned into cult gold, now's your moment. Hit that like button. It tells YouTube you want more deep dive content just like this. And while you're at it, subscribe. We drop new, forgotten film stories every single week. Number 7. Johnny Mnemonic. After the massive success of Speed, Keanu Reeves was one of the hottest actors in the world. His next project was Johnny Mnemonic, a sci-fi thriller based on a story by William Gibson, the man who invented the cyberpunk genre. Keanu played a data courier who carries secret information inside an implant in his brain. The movie flopped, making only $19 million on a $26 million budget. Critics called it goofy and confusing. But there was a secret story behind the failure. Johnny Mnemonic was never supposed to be a blockbuster. It was planned as a small black and white art film with a tiny $1.5 million budget. But when Speed became a hit, the studio poured millions into it and demanded changes, resulting in a messy film. Its true cult status was cemented 4 years later when Keanu starred in The Matrix. Suddenly, Johnny Mnemonic looked like a fascinating, yet flawed, first draft for a masterpiece. The success of The Matrix completely rewrote its legacy. Number 6. Empire Records. The idea behind Empire Records was perfect for the 90s. One wild day in the life of misfit employees at an independent record store trying to save it from a corporate chain. The script felt authentic because the writer based it on her real-life job at a Tower Records. The movie was also packed with young actors who were about to become huge stars, including Liv Tyler and Renee Zellweger. The studio thought they had a hit, but after one bad test screening, they panicked. They slashed its promotion and dumped the film into just 87 theaters. On a $10 million budget, it made only about $300,000. But the soundtrack was a massive hit, selling millions of copies. People bought the CD, loved the music, and then went searching for the movie on VHS. At home, audiences connected with the film's rebellious message, "Damn the man, save the empire." Its cult following grew so large that Rex Manning Day, a fictional event from the movie, became a real-life holiday for fans. Number 5. Mallrats. After the surprise indie success of Clerks, director Kevin Smith was given a real budget of $6 million to make his next movie, Mallrats. The story followed two slacker best friends who get dumped and decide to spend the day at the local mall. The film was packed with the quirky dialogue and pop culture references that would become Smith's signature style, and featured early appearances from stars like Ben Affleck and Shannon Doherty. The studio had high hopes, with the head of Universal even predicting it would make $100 million. But the movie was critically panned and bombed hard, making only about $2 million. Shannon Doherty later said the failure was blamed on her and that it killed her movie career. For a moment, it looked like Kevin Smith might be a one-hit wonder. But just like Empire Records, Mallrats found its true home on video. Away from the bad reviews, audiences connected with its goofy humor and lovable characters, and the movie that was once a failure was reborn as a beloved cult classic. If you've made it this far, you're clearly one of us, a true movie junkie who loves an underdog story. Smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another cult classic breakdown. Trust me, next week's list will blow your mind. Number 4. Hackers. In 1995, the internet was still a strange new frontier, and Hollywood was obsessed. Hackers dove headfirst into that world, telling the story of a group of teenage hackers who stumble upon a corporate conspiracy. The film starred a group of young, up-and-coming actors, including Johnny Lee Miller and then unknown Angelina Jolie. The movie was a visual explosion of 90s cyberculture, rave aesthetics, and a glamorized view of hacking. But at the time, it didn't connect. On a $20 million budget, the film earned just $7.5 million at the box office. Critics dismissed it for favoring style over substance and for its unrealistic portrayal of technology. However, as the years went on, the movie found a passionate audience. It became a time capsule of the 90s, celebrated for its killer techno soundtrack, its iconic fashion, and its surprisingly accurate predictions about online culture and the fight for information. What seemed silly in 1995 now feels like a charming and energetic snapshot of the moment the digital world was born. Number 3. Tank Girl. Based on a freewheeling British comic, Tank Girl was a punk rock, post-apocalyptic adventure unlike anything else in 1995. Set in a future where water is controlled by a tyrannical corporation, the film follows a rebellious hero, played by Lori Petty, who teams up with a shy mechanic and mutant kangaroos to fight back. The movie was a chaotic mix of live action, animated sequences straight from the comic, and a killer 90s soundtrack. It was a bold, feminist, and anarchic vision from director Rachel Talalay, a rarity for a big-budget film at the time. But the studio reportedly interfered heavily with the story, and the final product confused audiences and critics. The movie was a massive financial flop, earning only around $6 million worldwide on a $25 million budget. Over the years, however, Tank Girl has been reclaimed as a cult classic. Fans love its unique style, its anti-authoritarian attitude, and its ahead-of-its-time female anti-hero, who is now seen as a clear forerunner to characters like Harley Quinn. Number 2. Judge Dredd. In 1995, Sylvester Stallone was still one of the biggest action stars in the world, so when he put on the helmet to play the iconic comic book hero Judge Dredd, expectations were huge. The The film had a massive $90 million budget and was meant to be a summer blockbuster. It was set in a futuristic, crime-ridden metropolis where elite cops known as judges act as judge, jury, and executioner. The movie was packed with huge sets, futuristic action, and a comedic sidekick played by Rob Schneider. But the film was a critical and commercial disaster. It was accused of misunderstanding the source material, most famously by having Dredd take his helmet off, a huge taboo for the character. It bombed at the box office, failing to make back its huge budget. For years, it was seen as a prime example of a bad comic book movie, but time has been kind to it in a strange way. While the 2012 reboot, Dredd, is praised for being faithful, the 1995 version has found a cult following as a so-bad-it's-good classic, celebrated for its campy tone, over-the-top action, and Stallone's ridiculous one-liners. Number 1. Heavyweights. From the mind of Judd Apatow and starring a hilariously villainous Ben Stiller, Heavyweights should have been a hit. This 1995 Disney comedy tells the story of a group of kids at a weight loss summer camp. Their fun is ruined when the camp is taken over by Tony Perkis Jr., a psychotic fitness guru played by Stiller. The kids decide to fight back and take back their camp. The movie was a surprisingly snarky and subversive family film for its time, and Stiller's performance as the unhinged Perkis is seen as a clear dry run for his iconic character, White Goodman in Dodgeball. Despite its creative team and funny premise, the movie was a box office flop that was quickly forgotten by mainstream audiences. But like so many others on this list, it found a second life on home video. Kids who grew up in the 90s discovered the film on VHS and cable, and it slowly built a loyal cult following. Today, it's remembered fondly for its quotable lines, its underdog story, and for being a surprisingly edgy comedy that was smuggled into the world under the Disney banner. A movie's life can be long and strange, and sometimes the films that fall the hardest are the ones that are remembered the longest. The final verdict always belongs to the fans. So which of these 1995 cult classics is your favorite? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into cinema's secret histories, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story.